Well, things are moving extremely fast, even though we are seeing some of the coldest temperatures of the year. January actually set a little bit of a record with the 253 sales for the month of January. Now, we have seen a big increase in which properties are going over list price, and we're probably seeing about a 38% of properties that are either selling at list price or over. We're also seeing 25% of those actually out of that 38 is it going over list price.
Welcome again to the Bamford and Co. podcast, Beyond the Keys. I'm here with my brother Ryan, here to do the market update. Ryan, give us an update on that market.
Well, things are moving extremely fast, even though we are seeing some of the coldest temperatures of the year. January actually set a little bit of a record with the 253 sales for the month of January. Now, we have seen a big increase in which properties are going over list price, and we're probably seeing about a 38% of properties that are either selling at list price or over. We're also seeing 25% of those actually out of that 38 is it going over list price. So, Gregg was just mentioning that there was a lot of new builds that are happening out there, and a lot of those were kind of sitting around that list price or just a couple $1,000s over. A lot of times that happens with just some extra inclusions.
Right.
Agree with me?
Yeah.
So all in all is that things are off to a hot start for 2025.
It's interesting. With inventory comes demand. And we started in January, I think, when we started at 429, and we're now seeing more sales than there are inventory. So right now we have 416 properties listed. So this morning was 411.
Yeah, that are active.
That are active, not conditionally sold, right?
And probably about 182, 85, somewhere around there that are actually conditionally sold right now. So
for this month.
For this month.
Yeah.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, and we've already seen 159 properties. So we're shooting this mid-February. We've already seen 159 properties sell. 30% of those would be above list price, and then above list price, and 14.5%. I guess that would be at full ask. And that's where you come into those builders ones, right? Like builders are not negotiating. They lower one property. They're actually increasing property prices, right? Like I saw yesterday, there's 10 properties that they were increasing by $5,000. And it seems like those new builds just keep on increasing every single month, right?
For sure. And it's supply and demand. We have lower interest rates. We have, lots of people moving into the province for multiple different reasons. Is that I see this continuing on throughout the year, and January having these kind of stats, it just really the writing's on the wall for what's going to happen for the rest of the year. Is that we're going to see property values continue to increase, maybe at a faster rate than we've seen for a long time.
Well, if all the ones that close right now in February, and we're just mid-February right now, we're at, what is that, 339 properties sold in February so far?
Yeah, that's big numbers for Saskatoon.
That's big numbers, especially for February, especially when we only have 416 listings.
Especially when it's 42 degrees out, minus 42
minus 40
without the windshield.
I think you said you were just showing acreages
this morning.
And I was showing a property at Edgemont at 9 a.m. and I was like, holy smokes, is this cold. Like, it was like frost in the door. I tried to open it up and I got snow all over me, and I was like, man, this is cold. At least it wasn't windy this morning.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough balance to keep the windows defrosted, but also having a warm vehicle to come in and out after the showings, right? So it's a balance.
I don't know why this pops to mind, but these are the days that you see the people grabbing that boiling hot water and throwing them up into the air for those pictures.
Exactly.
That's like the old Saskatchewan picture, but it's cold. And historically, when we first started real estate, this is quite a few years ago, like 2 decades, but you would never see acreages selling in the middle of winter, right? It was like acreages came off the market in November, and then if they didn't sell, then they came back on in maybe late March, early April.
Yeah.
We're now seeing multiple offers on acreages, and it's minus 40.
Well, we had one that we booked a showing for yesterday, and I got a phone call back probably 15, 20 minutes after I sent her a text saying, is that, Ryan, if you want to see it, you're going to have to come today.
Right.
And I think I was in bed, but I got a text at like 10:30 last night saying showings canceled. We got multiple offers and a backup offer in place. Thanks for your interest.
And when was it listed?
Yesterday, which was like
On
minus
Family Day? Who lists a property on Family Day?
I thought the same thing. But either way, she sold it. So
Right.
their family's probably pretty happy, I guess.
Yeah, on Family Day.
Yeah, there you go.
I was in the office yesterday, I guess on Family Day, but I was talking to an agent there, and she had listed a property on Bain, and she said that it was presentation of offers, and they had 52 showings, 18 offers. It sold for, what is it, 60, I guess it would be 65,000 over list price, and that wasn't even close to the highest offer. That was just a non-conditional offer, so it was a firm sale, right? But like, so this really does bring us back to how we got started in real estate in 2006, 2007, 2008. The market is already super hot in February, and the weather's freezing. So like, if this is where we're at right now, I can only see it as interest rates continue to lower and also the weather starts to warm. A lot of buyers are going to come out.
Well, for sure. It's just a prime example that the market doesn't wait for anybody.
Right.
You know, like if you're not being the first one to the property, you know, seeing the bad houses before you see the good, so you understand the values and understand where the market is currently at, is that it's going to take a long time for you to get that education. So I always say to people is that going through doing that education day, it's probably going to save you 3 to 4 months in the market.
Right. I was out showing higher end properties this morning, and I was having a conversation. I said, you know, back when we first got started, a lot of these finishing, so if you had like granite countertops and quartz countertops, that wasn't like regular standard.
Yeah.
It wasn't standard when we first came into the market. And so people didn't understand what those luxury materials would cost on a property. And now what I'm finding is that now where people are still trying to figure out what the luxury market is, because more properties are selling over $1 million in Saskatoon, but the connections between the high-end real estate, which is new builds and the cost, and then what the used market is, they're still trying to figure that out. And even though last year I think we had 42 properties on MLS sell above $1 million, I think there was probably about 58 or something like that properties in and around Saskatoon that were builds over $1 million.
Yeah.
So it's becoming a lot more regular to see these numbers, and at the same time as we continue to grow and markets keep on going up in price, we're going to see more and more of it. And you're not getting as much anymore for that $1 million either.
For sure. You know, like I was having this conversation with a couple clients and just kind of saying is a lot of times is that, you know, if you're buying something that's been built in the last 2-3 years, is that the price point on that is going to be exponential compared to what it is for something that might need, you know, maybe a little bit of cosmetic updates or something like that was built in, you know, maybe prior to 2018. Right. Like there's a big difference in those costs, and I think that it's really hard for people to get their mind around that.
Yeah. And I think it'll take a couple of years. It might take 2 to 3 years for people to do that. But I mean, the ones that get in now, I think that it'll be a deal compared to what it will be in the future. And because we've mentioned this before on the podcast, is that the material costs and everything have went up about 35% since pre-COVID. So anybody that's building that custom house is costing a lot more than what it used to, right? But now they're seeing this price point of higher end properties for new, but they're not understanding like that the used market needs to now start coming up and kind of creating that equal barrier for what you're
creating
getting.
that gap, bridging that gap.
Bridging that gap, yeah.
And I think that you're right, is that there are a lot of people that haven't found that value, but you know, maybe they're also not looking at what some of those costs are and things like that, right? Like if you're willing to live with some of those things for a couple of years, is that I think that you're getting a lot of value in some of those couple years older, right?
For sure. And another thing that it's that there's not so many properties that sell above that million, that not every realtor is familiar with these costs and what land costs are and redevelopment and so forth. So when you have these conversations on what this market actually is, because we do sell quite a bit in that now market, they're not familiar with it. So it's like, as you talk about education day, we sometimes have to break it down for them. Like, here's the lot price. This is what it costs to build. This is what it costs for development of your basement. This is what's going to cost for landscaping. Like, landscaping costs a lot. Like, we were out in Greenbrier the other day, and I was looking at the landscaping on this home with it had a outdoor swimming pool and so forth, right?
wow, yeah.
And I was like, I bet you the landscaping on this property with the swimming pool and with everything else they've done there is probably $350,000.
I was going to say, as soon as you said pool, I said it's probably upwards over 3.
Right.
You know,
And the thing is that people, if you've not priced these things out, it's shocking.
yeah.
Right. But
Or if you're not just current in today's prices, because like
That's
what it
true,
was
yeah.
10 years ago and what it is today is a completely different thing,
Right.
right? So I think that just knowing that and being able to educate people on what those replacement costs are today, you know, it's a shocking thing that I find that most people are really having a hard time grasping.
for sure. We were speaking with Bella Vista Developments, which we sell some of their properties, and they're saying that cabinet costs went up 100%.
Yeah.
So like that $60,000 kitchen that used to be amazing is now $120,000.
Yeah.
That's a big jump,
It's double.
right?
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for your mathematical skills. I appreciate it. So I guess what's your thoughts on what's the next month going to look like?
For me or you?
Yeah, so Ryan's going on vacation. Yeah. I'm going to cover his business, so good for him.
I think it's going to be really busy. Is it people are just starting to get out of the, like, I think as soon as this weather, you know, cap breaks, is I think that we're going to see a lot more people entering the market. For them to kind of realize what's happening and how fast it's moving, I think will take them a couple weeks or a month to be able to kind of realize and get their just, I guess, get an overall good view of what's happening. And then the market's just going to go crazy, I think, is that we're going to see a lot more people coming to the market. Interest rates are coming down. We still have immigrants that are coming in. There's going to be less single family builds when it comes down to new construction. I think everything's pointing in a direction with low inventory and increase in values.
Do you think that new builds is the direction that more people should look at just because that used market isn't coming back? Like, we were breaking out the neighborhoods the other day and how many properties actually sold in different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And it was actually shocking how many properties like sold last year in Hollitain or Holliston or even Nutana. And
Yeah.
you're like, 38 properties? I was like, in a full year? That's crazy. So if you're looking for these specific areas and you're waiting on it, I guess if you already got a house, it depends on if the value of your property is going to go up the same as the property that you're looking for.
Right.
But I mean, do you think the new builds is something that people more should look at to get into the market or move into it?
If they want to move, I think that's one of your only options that you have, really. You know, unless
Right.
you're going to wait for that perfect property.
Right.
Not everybody wants, you know, the new neighborhood, the new house. But if you're open to that, I think that you have to. You can't eliminate that out of your search.
Yeah.
Because you're just not going to find a whole lot of things. And then also the other option is, if you do wait, and you're not in the market already, how much are you losing? You know what I mean? Like, if you purchase now, we might be paying tomorrow's prices today, but if you pay it three or 4 months down the road, you're going to be definitely paying a lot more, I think, at that point too.
Yeah, and I think you're going to have a lot more competition.
100% you will.
Yeah.
That everybody, you know, I think most people, until the weather turns, is that no one's wanting to see houses at minus 42. When
Right.
it gets to
To be
minus
honest,
10,
I mean, I love my job and I love my clients, but I also don't want to show houses in minus 40.
I agree with you too.
Yeah.
But it's just everybody's going to come out, and once the weather warms up, I think it's going to be a hot market, and I think that a lot of people, unless they're braced for spring, that they're going to be shocked.
Right. Ryan and I have represented a lot of builders. We work with quite a few right now. So if you're looking to get into either building a custom home or a spec home, we'd be happy to introduce you to some of the builders that we work with and show you the value that they have to offer. It's sometimes a longer conversation because you kind of have to lay out the neighborhoods and lot sizes and finishings and the rest of it. But we'd be happy to lead you through that journey of doing that. And then because what you're looking at doing is you'd have to then buy that property, and then we've got time to get your property then ready for market and so forth. So then your property you buy that one now, it might not be finished for a bit, but then your property value is going to keep on going in. So at least you can lock in on the new builds, prices and so forth, while your property continues to increase if it's an older neighborhood and something. So that might be a way of being able to, I guess, double dip on the market.
Yeah, bridge the gap a little bit.
Yeah. Make some more money. But I guess that's something for people to think about, and we're happy to help them with it. I think that's kind of what we got for the market update.
And one thing is that doesn't have to be in a new neighborhood as well too. There's lots of different options that we can look at for, building a new house in a mature neighborhood. Right. So it's not always just located in the new areas.
That's true. Thanks for pointing that out. I mean, we've got one that's coming up on 13th Street, right? And so they're desirable neighborhoods. You pay a little bit of a premium because of the lot, but I mean, you do have mature trees, and you have schools, and you're close to the river and other things, right? So
you got your amenities, and you got no construction beside you.
Right.
That goes a long way for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. So we're here for you. Anything that you want to know about real estate, if we don't know it, we'll ask one of our partners and people that we work with on a daily basis. We want to thank you for watching the podcast and for tuning in. Again, if there's anything that you want us to cover within the Beyond the Keys podcast, we'd be happy to go over those. I just want to wish my brother a happy 2 weeks off as I cover his business, and I will take care of your clients just like I would my own.
Well, thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. I really hope you didn't say anything else. You know what I mean? But, follow us on, I think we're on Spotify, YouTube. I know that. Follow us on our social media channels. At least you can see little clips and so forth of the value that we try to add to the public, and make it so that you can enjoy your home for a longer period of time. So thanks for joining in.